Have a nice meeting on happiness. Happiness, oh boy. We all want it, we all desire it. Actually, I just want to give you a small introduction to some tools, how to bring more happiness in your life. I start with a simple story. Imagine there's this amazing buffet, of food. You have the smell, you have the colors. It's like tables and tables of all types of food. And you've got an invitation. Wow! You got an invitation to go to this buffet. You get there, you sit at the table, you put your card down, and you got, your glasses, your plates. You get up, and you can take any of the things you want there. So you're going to try some of this, try some of that, try some of this, and then sit back at your table with your fellow guests and just enjoy this beautiful meal. Now, this is what happiness can look like. This is this story of going to a buffet, having this invitation, being there, serving yourself, choosing, and then enjoying the food. These have all the 5 ingredients of what happiness is. So, just a little bit of theory. I hope you don't mind. Theory is basically like learning how to tie your shoelaces or riding a bike. Once you know it, you don't have to think about theory anymore. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of theory of what are the tools I use for happiness. And maybe one thing that's very important to say is happiness is a practice. So I'm not going to talk about beliefs. I'm not going to talk about rules. Everything I'm going to share with you today is what I practice every second of my life. So happiness is a practice. And like learning an instrument, the more you practice, the better you get at it. So happiness is not an island somewhere that you take a plane and you get to. No, happiness is really a practice, but the beauty of it is that this practice is free. And it's available to you every instant of your life. So, a bit of theory. I hope you don't mind a bit of theory. Thank you for your approval. So, the most simplest way to talk about theory is that we all exist here. We are here. I mean, we're on Zoom now, and if we were sitting together, I'd say, I just come and touch you on the shoulder. And I'd say, touch your neighbor, or touch your cat, or touch, we are existing. It's such an amazing, beautiful gift. And existence is like this amazing buffet. Now, we don't need to do anything to exist. You don't have to ask permission to exist. You don't have to wonder, am I worthy enough to exist? It's a given. But like things that are given, often they're so difficult to appreciate and to see because there's no demands on it. Think of it of a fish swimming in the water. Is he aware of the water or not? You don't know this amazing gift we have, this gift of love, this gift of happiness, of life, until you don't have it anymore. But luckily, we'll always have it. So there's this amazing gift. So we are alive. Now, so far, there's no theory. I think we can all agree that we are alive. We are here. Now, if people work with chakras, it's like there's this big pizza and they cut the chakra into 7 categories. You know, I don't know which one, but there's 7 colors or things like that. So, and if you talk to religious people, I don't know about, let's say, Christianity, then it's the 3 thing, you know, I'm not even so good in the Christian religion, but the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Okay? So it doesn't really matter. You exist. There's this pie of life that exists. I cut it in 5 parts. That's the only theory you have to understand. I cut it into 5 parts. And the names I use for those 5 parts, you have to find the ones that speak to you the most. So, very simple. It's the head. You know, and I'll go back to why I use 5. The head. You can say the mind if you want, but the head. The heart. So, the mind, the heart, the body. Okay, 3 basic ones. The head, the mind, the head, the heart, and the body. The 4th one is like the fish in the water. The further we go, the harder they are. It took me years to find the 4th one because we speak about the mind, we speak about our feelings, we kind of speak about our bodies. But the 4th one is what I call the soul. Again, if you don't like that word, change it to yourself. If you don't like that word, change it to consciousness. You know, basically number 4, the 4th one, is what makes you you. That's all. The I. The uniqueness of you being a person. So there's the mind, the heart, the body. Which one do you want? Which one? The I, maybe this group prefers to talk about the I or the self. But basically the 4th one is basically who you are. You know, you're an individual. And the last one, the fish in the water, is the universe. The given of everything is there. Now, why is this so important in regards to happiness? I'll tell you why. So we exist, we are incarnated in this universe, we are here. You know, I touch you, you touch yourself. Now, each of these 5 levels of beings have a purpose. And either you use that purpose for happiness or you're going to be used by it. And that's why it matters. And that's going to be clear in a moment. I like to go slowly. But for now, you know, the mind, the heart, the body, the self, and the universe. So, why do we have a mind? What's the purpose of the mind? Is to give meaning to the world. That's all. You know, the mind looks at the past and it looks for patterns. It's going to take meaning. So the mind is always busy with the past. It's that simple. So the mind is there to make sense of the world. You know, why does 1 + 1 = 2? It's let's call it you got a huge library, a bibliothèque. It's filled with books. So the mind is these thousands of books, thousands of stories. The heart, let's keep with the library. The heart is about you choosing which book are you going to use in life, which story. So the heart is busy with the future. The mind is busy with the past. The heart is about choosing in which direction are you going to go. What do you want to achieve? And of course, the heart is feelings. So basically, we're going to go towards pleasure and we're going to want to avoid pain. We're going to, you know, so the mind is neutral. It's just stories, millions of stories. The heart is about choosing where do you want to go in life. You know, you're going to go towards pleasure and you want to avoid pain. We're going to see why this is important about happiness. Now, the body, okay, so far the mind is just ideas. It's abstract. It's can't do anything. The heart is energy. It's feelings. It's about going to the future. It's about moving. The body is actually the fact that you can act physically in this world. You can make a change in this world. So the body is busy with the present moment. The mind is in the past. How difficult it is sometimes to shut the mind. Always thinking, always going on, always going on. If it's not in the past, often the mind is in it's in the future. Your fears, your hopes, your expectations. Your body is in the present moment. You know, the body is now. It's your sensations. And this is when I find that words are sometimes so important and so misleading. We have feelings, but the body is busy with sensations, the 5 senses. It's about taking information about the physical world. The heart is about feelings. It's about what moves you. It takes energy. You know, so the mind makes a plan. Your heart makes choosing. Your body is actually, okay, I can manipulate the world. I can change it. Now, the fourth one, your attitude, your soul. So the mind is the past, the heart is the future, the body is the present, but your soul or yourself is your attitude. And I'm sure you know from your life experience that your attitude is going to color your experience of life. If you feel tired, you're going to think differently. You're going to feel differently. If you feel very arrogant, I'm the best, then you're going to act out. Okay, so number 4 is like I say, it's the most subtle one. It's your attitude. If you're angry, if you're depressed, if you're insecure. Like, is insecure a feeling? No, when you're insecure, it's going to bring you lots of different kind of feelings. But insecure itself is a state of being. So the mind is in the past, making up stories about mothers and, oh, this has happened to me. The heart is about the future, where you want to move towards to. The body is in the present. You know, what can I do? Act now, actually. The soul, the self, is your attitude, is your state of being. And your state of being is going to affect if you're going to take action or not. You know, if you're depressed, you're not going to take action. You're going to have dark thoughts and stuff like that. No. And the last one, the universe is just the fact that you exist. You know, it's a given. It's a gift. And that's the hardest one to accept. I exist. I exist without a story, without a past, without a future. We, all of us are. You know, it's like number 4, the self is the I, but number 5, the universe is the we. All of us. There's nothing I can do about existence. It's just given to me. I can change my attitude, but existence is just a given. Okay, so that's all about the theory. I'm done with that. So how do I use these things? You know, what's the point of the mind, the past, the heart, the feelings, the future, the body, the present, my attitude, and the fact that I exist? How do I use this for happiness? Now, basically, the very simple question you're going to ask yourself is, like the buffet, Life is about breathing in and letting go. So what are you feeding your soul with? What are you feeding your mind? What are you feeding your heart? What are you feeding your body with? It's very simple. It's what you breathe in. So are you practicing? Are you breathing in happiness? Or not? And how do we find this out? Okay. Happiness. When you are plugged in to the universe. Now we'll just reverse the order. When you are plugged in to the fact that you exist and you listen, you're going to find your calling. And your calling in life is going to give you your purpose. Why I exist. And with your purpose, you're going to have your gifts. Some of us are great musicians. Some of us have, your gift. We are amazing. We have gifts. We can talk about gifts. What are gifts? You can be good at writing. You can be good at listening. You can be good at horse riding. You can be good at, okay? And your gifts are going to give you your passions. And lastly, your passions are going to give you your dreams. How much time do we breathe in? Do we think about what's my calling? What's my purpose? What are my gifts? What are my passions? And what are my dreams? I'm always reminded of Martin Luther King. What is the famous phrase of Martin Luther King? He didn't say, I have a plan. He said, I have a dream. I have a dream. Now, in my book, I talk about my personal history of being sexually abused as a kid, as a young boy, by women, by men, many instances, violence in the family. And today I am a clown and I'm talking about happiness and the giving love around the world. So I know about breathing in the past, the anger, the everything you carry on, learning to let go and finding the root of happiness. The root of happiness is about finding your calling, your purpose, your gift, your passions and your dreams. And the abuse, it took me 40, 50 years to be able to dream again. I didn't know that having dreams was possible and was important. Okay, so breathing in. Let's talk about breathing in, finding your calling, and we're going to get how do you separate these things? Calling, your purpose, your gifts, your passions, and your dreams. I'm saying these words, and I'm thinking that some of you might thinking, but am I allowed to have dreams? Am I allowed to have purpose? My parents, my school, my education told me to be serious or to be practical or, giving ourselves permissions to dream and to have passion. So if we lost that, if we say, but Guy, how can we get back in touch with my calling, my purpose, my passion, my gifts and my dreams? Well, for a moment there, I'm gonna let you reflect because I've given you so much information. But just for a moment, say, I'm sure each one of you has experience doing an activity that when you do this activity, you lose your sense of time. You lose your sense of self. You're doing something that it's even beyond enjoyment. It can be knitting. It can be reading a book. It can be listening to music. It can be hiking. It can be anything, but I'm sure cooking. It can be, I was going to say it can be cleaning, but why not? It can be, I'm thinking of my daughter and putting her to bed and just like reading her a bedtime story and she's just falling asleep. And that moment, can last an eternity, can last a lifetime. But each one of us has experienced that moment, which is out of time. And that's a great, indicator that you're getting close to your calling, purpose, gift. If I come back, the mind is busy with the past, the heart is busy with the future, the body is busy with the present, the soul is busy with like now, attitude, but the universe is timeless. There's no beginning and there's no end. So when you do that activity that feels there's no beginning, there's no end, you lose yourself in it, you forget to eat. You started to do that activity and the sun was shining, and suddenly either the phone rings or something happens and you look outside and it's night and you have no idea what had happened, But when you are in that activity, if you're able to just feel it for 1 second, whatever that special activity is for you, I'm sure that you feel happy. I feel that if you concentrate on that moment of ecstasy, of joy, of doing that activity, you have this amazing energy. You glow. You're so happy. Now, imagine if you could live every day of your life in that energy. What? Guy, is that possible? Is it possible to actually be happy every second of my life? Can you imagine that? So, let's recap. When you get in touch with that magic thing that makes you so totally happy, this is a good indication that we're getting close to your purpose. Now, this is why it's so important, these 5 categories. So, because if you look for happiness, depending on where you are in your life story, maybe we'll say, okay, let's look at your dreams. Okay, you don't know how to look at your dream. That's fine, I understand. Let's look at your passions. Oh, you don't know your passions anymore. Okay, that's fine. Let's look at your gifts. Okay, maybe you can talk about your gift. You enjoy taking care of people. Okay, so that's a place to start. Now, if we are not connected to this place of happiness, to this energy, now we are still alive. Okay, we cannot not exist, and this is, like I was thinking, what we breathe in and what we need to let go of. Okay, so the mind, if you remember, is about giving a meaning in life. Your heart is about choosing. Your body is about acting. So what happened is that if you are not focused on your purpose, your calling, your gift, your dreams, and your passion, your mind has only one purpose left, and it is to be right. So you will go around life trying to be right all the time. It's that simple. Your heart is going to be busy with expectations. This is how the world is supposed to be. Your body is going to be busy with its habits, ses habitudes. So, you know smoking is not good for you, but you're still going to do it. You know that maybe lots of sugar and sweet is not good for you, but you're still going to do it because you're following the habits of your body. Okay? Your attitude is about I am right. You know, it's all about me. It's all about the ego. And the universe for you is all going to be about controlling the results, controlling the outcomes. Ooh, Guy, that's heavy. Ooh, boy, Guy, this is a... That's a lot, you know? I mean, if you're not connected to... And the last part is going to be how do we reconnect? I'm going to give you some tools. So if you're not living from that beautiful energy, this beautiful timeless energy that we've touched before, you know, acting on your calling, on your gift, on your purpose, on your passions and on your dreams, you're going to go in life trying to be right, having expectations, stuck with your habits, having this attitude about what about me, but what about me, and control. And that's sad, and that's heavy, you know. And when you're plugged into this, yes, you're going to get results, but after you've got what you expected, you're going to be happy for a week, or a day, or a month, and then it's just redo again and redo again. But so you see, you're focused on the outside world. Happiness is the practice of being focusing on, I have a calling in life. And every second, I'm going to live my calling. Wow. And I'm going to have a purpose. And every second of my life, I'm going to be focusing on giving. I'm going to give my gift. I'm going to live my passions. I'm going to follow my dreams. And again, it's like, but how dare you, Guy? That's so selfish. How dare you, live your dreams. But if I live my dream of a peaceful world, if I live my calling and my gift of giving love, I'm just creating a more beautiful world. And I have this belief that each one of us has a calling, and their calling is to make a better world. There's no other way than making a better world. So, how do we practice this? Phew, that's a lot. How do we practice getting back into our calling? And then questions if it's possible, because it's so much information. Okay, so nice little recap. My 5 tools: the mind, the heart, the body, the soul or the self, and the universe. So the mind's job, the tool, is listen. It's that simple. We must practice listening. It's that simple. Don't be right. Listen. That's all. Whatever happened, it happened. It rains. That's it. It's raining. Just listen to what is. Stop fighting about it. Just listen to what is. That's the mind. The heart, it's about love. The heart is whatever you hear. Another word for love is accept it. It is what it is. Now, accepting doesn't mean you agree with it. But accepting means, okay, this is what you say, this is what you feel. I won't argue with you. I will acknowledge it. Okay, so so number one, with the mind, you listen. You practice listening. Forget being right. Forget the past. With your heart, you acknowledge, okay, this is your truth. I don't have to agree with it, but I acknowledge, I accept that this is your truth. Now, with your body, you create. So you listen, you love, and create. Now, creating, what does that mean? Is that, I told you, body is about habits. So, I used to smoke a long time ago. I stopped maybe 30 years ago. It's hard to stop any habit by saying no to it. You create a new habit by saying yes to somebody that makes you happy, that excites you. And the more you say yes to your new creation, the less time there is for the thing that you want to leave out of your life. So, with your body, you create new things, new life, new choices, new possibilities. Number 4, you express yourself. Ooh, that's a hard one. So you listen, you accept, you create, and you learn to say, you practice saying what's going through your mind. If it's all in your head, if you never bring out into the world what's happening into yourself, nothing's going to change, nothing's going to happen. I like to call the 4th one also the voice. If you don't like to say the self or the soul or any of those words, the 4th one is about expressing yourself. Imagine what would happen if you'd actually say what you feel. Your life would change. Your relationship would change. You know, so the enemy of expressing yourself, the enemy of happiness is fear. The fear of expressing yourself. So I practice daily expressing myself. I get scared all the time. My God, my body is so used to, let's grab some chocolate. Instead of expressing myself, let's grab some whatever habit. Oh, let's watch YouTube. Let's go for Instagram for a moment or something, you know, entertainment, instead of just sitting with what I'm feeling with my attitude and expressing myself. So happiness is about you listen, you love, you create, you express. And the last one is you play. When you play, when you really play, you forget yourself. You know, if you go to any kind of team sport, if you go in a team sport and you just think about yourself, I must score a goal, I must be the best player, most likely you're not having fun and you're going to be frustrated at the end of the day. Playing is about being there for the other people. It's about being transformed. Each time I go on a humanitarian clown mission, I am transformed, not because I try to be funny, but because I interact with people, and with each interaction, with each love I give, I am transformed by the person I'm with. When I express myself honestly, and I hear, and I listen, and I love the answer of the other person, then I am transformed. I become somebody else. Number 4, remember, is the voice, is about expressing I, the self. But number 5, the play, is about letting go of who you are, letting go of control. So this is what I practice. So the practice is saying, am I listening to what's happening? Am I loving? Am I accepting what's happening? It's a practice, you know. Am I being original? Am I trying to do things differently? Am I expressing myself? And am I letting myself, let things be, let things go? Forgiveness, it's like when we hear about these philosophers or these spiritual leaders about letting go, they say, yes, I know it's about letting go. But letting go, again, is abstract. For me, letting go with the mind is let go of being right. Stop being right. Stop being stubborn about your story, Stop having expectations and stop trying to have everything going your way, your habits, So this is like, this is the heavy part of the discussion now. But it's about letting go. So are you, and that will be my final question because it's so much information. When you get up in your morning, are you breathing in? Are you nourishing yourself with what's my calling? What's my purpose? What are my gifts? Am I do something? What are my passions? And what are my dreams? And if you feed yourself from that, happiness is just a by, how do you say, a by result? I forgot the expression, but happiness is just there. You don't work at happiness. So it's about breathing in, letting in what brings you joy, what brings you happiness, and letting go. Letting go being right, letting go of the past, letting go of the future. And is that possible in this society? I'm going to be daring and say, yes, it's possible. And then we can start with all the arguments. How dare you? Is that so selfish? How can you? I can't. I must. I think all of you can help me there by telling me all these phrases about why you can't, why you shouldn't, why it's not allowed to follow your passion. Be responsible. Well, you've been given this amazing gift of life. I think for me, the biggest responsible I can have is to share my gift to the world. I believe that all the suffering in the world today comes from the friction between your calling, your purpose, and what I would call the history of mankind, the history of the mind. The mind is all about I should, I can't, I won't, I must. And the last one for number 5 is, yeah, but that's not for me. you know, or en français, en anglais, je me souviens plus c'est quoi l'expression, mais en français, il dit, ben, je suis né pour un petit pain, you know, that's it, that's my life, and that's number 5, existence. That's my life, you know, that's just the way it is. But when you say that's just the way it is, that's you keeping control. That's you keeping the story. The way it is, and that's the beginning of my story, is that life is this amazing buffet. And the buffet is the universe. We're here, we exist. I touch you, you touch your cat, you touch your desk. Life is this amazing buffet. There's nothing you have to do to enjoy it. There's nothing you have to do, it's there. And each one of us, number 4, the soul, have an invitation card. There's nothing you have to do to get your invitation. You are birthed. You're there. I was abused by a kid. I was abused by when I was young. All because these people had their stories. They were living their stories, their life stories. It doesn't take away that I have been born, that I'm here. I've got this amazing invitation. You've got this buffet of happiness. You've got this invitation to happiness. I'm at the table, but I think this is the most important step, is I need to get up with my plate to serve myself. How many of us are waiting to be served? By the politicians, by our parents, by our past, you know? We're waiting to be served. But actually, we have a body to get up. And number 2, with our heart, we have the liberty to choose anything you want. Wow! You want to be a ballerina dancer? You want to be a musician? You want to be a 18-wheel truck driver? You want to be a country star? Why not? I think when we hear stories about people who for 20, 30 years were famous doctors or famous architects or this, and then somehow one day or the other they abandoned everything. They changed their life. And now, so they say they're happy. They find their mission. They find their purpose. They had to, so, you know, it's not, and that's where we get confused with gifts. That's very big confusion. It's not because you're good at doing something that's your purpose. There's a very big confusion, because if for 30 years you've been following your mind, and your mind brought you to do serious study at university and serious study at a master's, and for 20 years you've been very serious applying your trade of everything you've learned, of the skills, and that's why I make a difference between your skills and your gift. Any skill you practice for 10, 20, 30 years, you're going to be good at, and people are going to look up at you, and you're going to say, but that's not what brings me happiness. Whew. That's a hard one, because you've created a world for the last 30 years, and your friends has expectations, your spouse has expectations, your dead parents even have expectations, you know, how you should have been a doctor or a lawyer or stuff, something like that. So a big difference between your gifts and your skill is that it's not because you're excellent and you got achievements and awards and medals at doing something that this is your purpose in life. that this is your gift. Your passion, that's why I use those 5 levels of being. Because if we've lost contact with what makes us so happy, with what is the magic in our life, with what is timeless, then I work with people, I do consultation, and I do workshop, and I say, okay, you've lost it. I agree. For the last 100 years, we've been living in a mental society. Totally, not that it's mental in that way, but we live in the mind. Society is based on the mind for the last 100 years. So in my workshop, in my counseling session, this is what I do. I say, okay, let's try to see, let's reconnect maybe to your dreams, or to your passions, or to your gift, or your purpose, or your calling. One of these is there. That's, I'm sure one of these is there. It's censored, it's hidden, but you know about it. You know at least one of these 5. And from one of these 5, then together we work and we dig out your calling. Because it's there, it's a given. There's nothing you have to do. You know, you are not worthless. And I'm not saying that to anybody. And you don't have to deserve anything. It's a given. It's such a beautiful life. So any suffering, any difficulty, any misery we have in life, it's basically the friction. The friction, let's say this hand is your calling, it's your purpose, and this hand is your mind, expectation, and it's the friction. And I'd rather have somebody who's feeling suffering and friction than somebody who totally don't feel anything anymore. Who's just say, it is what it is. My mother was doing it this way, I'm doing it this way, and that's it. I'm going to cut out people in my life who's not going to do it my way, and that's it. And I'm not suffering. I have my house, I have my car, and that's that. I'd rather have somebody who's struggling, because that's mean their calling is it's not accepting it. It's not accepting it. So listen to what is, love what is, don't fight it, just it's there. Create. You've listened and you've loved. Create means, what are you going to do about it? What different, taking into consideration what the other person has said. It's raining. Okay, what do? I'll take an umbrella. Wow, I've just created an idea. I'll take an umbrella. Okay, you're allergic to peanuts. Oh, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I forgot. What can I do? Okay, I'm going to replace it in the recipe. I'm going to throw it all away because I love you. And I'm going to replace it with strawberries. How about that? Ooh. And then, number 4, I have to go to the shop and get those strawberries. We create this fantasy world. We're going to, oh, yes, tomorrow I start exercising. Next year I'll go on vacation. I'll tell my spouse, my friend, I'll tell my true feelings, and then you feel good. And then number 4, the ego takes over and you're not doing it. But that's okay. It's fine. Forgive ourselves, It's about letting go. So if anything, I hope I've inspired you, that whatever shit, whatever past fear of the future, expectation, situation, Life is a buffet, and it's there, and it's free, and it's for you. And all you need, no, not all you need. I don't want to, it's there, and it's for you. I love you. That's it. You are my sunshine, my lovely sunshine. You make me happy when you're around. I forgot the rest of the song, but it doesn't matter, 'cause we all can sing along.